Everybody at Daddy Talks. Daddy Talks, by the way, I'm very curious today because I heard I'm gonna eat the best vegan burger, and as I'm since a couple of weeks vegan, I'm very curious. But before we're gonna do that, I want to say hello, Tom. Welcome on the Daddy Talks. We didn't have any chance to prepare, so it's really cold jump in the cold water for us both. And before we talk about Honest Burger itself and about the food and about the food trends, we like to talk a little bit about you because that's how we always start.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the teenager Tom growing up. How important was food in your family? How important was it growing up? Was it any important in your family? What was your association with food?
It always has been. I've always been quite kind of greedy when it comes to food. Even when I was a baby, yeah. I've always really enjoyed eating food, but it was only when I got to university where I actually I became a bit more interested in how to make nice food. Before that, it was just eating it.
So it was not a big part of your family at home?
Hugely, but it was my parents were divorced, so my kind of two mums, and both of them were really good cooks, and they would just feed me and my brother and sister, until we could eat no more. But I was never interested in how the food got to my plate. I just wanted it
to have it on the plate. And you just mentioned the university. When was it that you heard the calling that you say I'm gonna want to work in that industry? When was it that you said this is where I want to be?
Well, I think it was kind of towards the end of university where I was thinking which sort of direction I wanted my life to go in, and I had done I'd worked in the restaurant and hospitality kind of sector. It was because it's just such a great industry. It was my first job, was collecting glasses in the local pub, and I just really enjoyed it. It was good for confidence and good to meet people. So I was doing it anyway, but when I realised that I wanted to do it full time was when I met, me and Phil, my business partner, we met working in a restaurant in Brighton called Riddle and Fins, and that was the first restaurant where I was like...
How old have you been back then?
I would have been 21, 22 maybe.
Okay.
And we started working in this restaurant, and it's an amazing restaurant. Serves, all the kind of most decadent things the planet has to offer, like oysters and champagne and lobster and stuff like that. And that side of the business was amazing. But we both got sucked into the industry because we just loved working there so much. It was when you had a really good team. I met my wife there, so we were all kind of having fun together, and it just became this thing where I was like, I actually really like this industry, and that's when I started to really get into food. As a student, I used to regularly, as my mates were kind of getting drunk in the living room, they'd have given me a £5 each, and I'd go down to the shops and would make like beef Wellington or something as a student. So I was getting into it, and then my mum was like, I've never heard you talk about anything as passionately as you do when you talk about food, so you've got to do something food-based. So that was when I was like...
That was the phase when you had the idea, for Honest?
So it was a little bit before that. I had a few mates working on yachts, and like these big kind of luxury super yachts and stuff like that. So part of me, I was like, maybe I could go there and, learn to cook on one of those. And then Phil, who's, like I said, my business partner, he approached me. He'd say he had a bit of an epiphany on a ski lift in France, he was like a bit of a seasonaire, doing a ski season, and he was like, I want to go into business with someone that I trust and that I get on with, and I know the kind of work ethic. And he thought of me, and all we really had done is worked our asses off in this restaurant in Riddle and Fins in Brighton, and he was like, me and you should do something. So we basically went for a beer, as most of these things start off that way. Had several, decided we were going to change the world. Didn't know how. We were just like, let's go to business together. Let's do something.
That's the right thing. And I think when you watch a lot of these Daddy Talks, and we have these strong partners to start with, they always made first a decision to work together, and then they made the decision what to do. And we had one interview with Victor, who did this great job with the Big Mama Group, and he said, first of all, we bonded and we said we're going to do something together, and then the idea came. So it seems that it was very similar.
I think it's really important. I meet a lot of kind of young sort of real budding entrepreneurs, and they ask for advice, and I'm always like, get a business partner. It's a huge help when you're going through those really hard
I agree.
years. You know, the first months were brutal, and without the three of us, Dorian as well, without that dynamic, it's not a chance in hell Honest would be what it is today.
So when was it that you said it's burger? Because you first said, okay, it was like about this group of friends, or 2 friends, or 3 friends later on. When was it that it said it's Honest Burgers? When was that?
So that would have been just before 2011. That was June 2011 is when we opened our first Honest Burgers restaurant.
But why burgers then? Who said that needs to be burger?
So there was no kind of crystal ball into the restaurant industry, you know, thinking burgers were going to explode in London. When we started the business, me and Phil, we bought a marquee, a grill and a fryer, and we were called Honest Eating Co. And we did a few burger events, but we did a few hog roast events as well. And it was very simply, the reason I decided to choose burgers is because I was living in Brighton by the sea, and I was barbecuing lots, and I was making lots of burgers, and I was like, I like burgers. They were, you know, there's something that felt right with the word honest and burgers, because they are quite an honest. They're an honest meal, and anything you eat with your hands is good in my book. So we went from Honest Eating Co, and then I was like, you know, let's just forget about all the other stuff. Burgers is stuff we like the most. We had these amazing homemade chips as well with rosemary salt. We were like, let's just do burgers.
And who was around back then? Who of this third wave burger were already around? Was there Barton? Was there Betty and Bauer?
So there was a GBK in Brighton. Mm-hmm. So I remember going to GBK on like hungover on, you know, Devils when I was working with the Finns. And I'd go and have one of their burgers, and I was like, oh my god, that's the best burger ever. And that would have been, you know, 2009, 2010 sort of time. So then it all changed for me. I remember trying. Sorry, I thought I put my phone on silent.
Oh, good. Business calling.
And basically, I remember trying Meat Wagon when Yanni had his really humble little, you know, burger box in Shoreditch, and I went. My wife was like, she's heard about these guys, Meat Wagon, and I was doing burgers in Brighton. She was like, we should go and try them. And I went up and tried it, and I was like, that's incredible. That's like 1,000,000 times better than any burger I'd eaten before. But it was kind of, you know, very much the kind of American style, like smashed patty, steamed bun, that kind of stuff. It wasn't what we wanted to do, but I could appreciate it. I tried Byron, and I thought they were, you know, very professional, kind of big brand.
But what do you like to do different? Because if you look on the next couple of years when you started from 2011 till now, like all of this, like the big international heroes came, like Five Guys, like Shake Shack. Yeah. Then you had Byron as a local hero. Then you had this wave of Betty and Bun and Burger and Lobster. I mean, there was like thousands of this. How you tried to differentiate?
So the thing that's different about us, that I'd always say, is the majority of that menu we make ourselves. We're the only burger restaurant that's got their own butchery, where we actually make our own burger from scratch. We make our own chips from scratch as well. You know, all the names you just listed there, bar, patty and bun, they buy their chips in frozen. Which for me and Phil, we were like, if we're going to do something that's that simple, it's just going to be
honest
meat and potatoes basically. We're going to make both of them ourselves. We couldn't afford to do the meat from day one because we built that butchery, and it would cost it was a big investment. But we have always made chips from scratch, which I completely get why people don't do it, because it's a massive pain in the ass. And we've now become experts in those ingredients, so we can do it.
Do you want your guests, your fans to know that, or is it enough for you that they taste it? So is it like you want? Because it's a lot of effort. You say you do your own chips, you do your own butcher. I mean, that's a huge. I mean, it's massive. I knew it because I read about it, and I'm in the industry. But if I walk in here, I wouldn't really know it. Correct?
Yeah,
we
like humility as a brand. Again, okay. I think that works with being
so
honest.
We'll taste it. But
yeah, and all of our guys who work here, they all know everything you need to know, and I'd much rather it come from a human being.
Hey guys!
Hi!
Here we are, we have one honest burger for you.
That's good.
And I've got one vegan plant burger.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
So that's the vegan one.
So yeah, that's our vegan burger.
Since when? It's here on the plant-based burger, Gouda, chipotle mayo, onion, pickle, mustard, lettuce. When did that
This
become
has been
a
on
thing?
for about 15 months now.
So now we have the ketchup. Our friends here still have the best, the leading brand in the world, and I do the hopefully next leading brand. So when did the plant-based became?
So it's been on the menu for about 15 months. And again, Honest has always been, we've tried to be as inclusive as possible with gluten-free. We've done gluten-free food for from day one as well, gluten-free buns.
Alex, can you pass me a
we need some.
please? Thank you. That's amazing. And by the way, Alex said we need to come earlier to have some plant-based burger. That's really incredible.
So yeah, we always try to be inclusive. So as soon as the veganism started to become quite sort of mainstream, we wanted to get on board. And yeah, it's been great. We've embraced it with open arms. It's something that.
So what's the patty?
So it's the Beyond Meat patty.
And how much is it now of your sales? And when you talk about product mix, is it serious? Is it important?
Yeah, I mean it varies, but it can go anywhere from sort of 12 to 14%. But we had a really successful bacon plant on in January for Veganuary, where we used a company called their bacon products. We made some bacon ketchup out of their bacon products as well, and it was it was an amazing burger. And we basically had a plant-based bacon. It's kind of like a tribute to bacon, where we put as much bacon as possible. We had a plant-based version and a meat-based version, and both of them went down.
I like that as much as well. We were talking before about the Honest philosophy. You eat the signature burger, that's the Honest one.
That's what I normally eat when I come.
Smoked bacon, cheddar, red onion relish, pickles, lettuce. So that was the day number one.
This was the first one we did when me and Phil were like, this is really good. And it's just a simple bacon cheeseburger. So you've got like a sweet relish that cuts through the fattiness of the beef and the cheese and the bacon. Then you've got salty bacon, which adds to that. Sour pickles for that sharpness. And yeah, Honest Butcher's beef patty in there, which is just chuck and rip.
Has it stayed like that since day one?
Yeah, we haven't changed that literally at all from day one.
That's impressive. If I read now my notes, because I'm not so good with recalling the numbers, if my numbers are correct, you're currently standing at 37 stores, 750 employees, 31 million sales, around 1 million profit. That's quite impressive from this idea of let's open a burger store back then, because you didn't even plan to open a burger chain. When you now look back on this journey of almost like 11 years, what was more simpler as you thought, and what was much, much more difficult in achieving that?
I think, so the burger, I think we thought the burger was actually quite straightforward, and the chip, that no one could have embraced me for what was to come in terms of trying to understand how the humble potato works all year round. So food, what appears to be a simple kind of meal, a hell of a lot of work goes into that behind the scenes to make sure that it tastes great all year round. Because we're working with real ingredients.
So the consistency in the scaling up of your high quality expectation was more difficult than you thought.
That was definitely more difficult, just because if you don't know how many of the different varieties and different seasons and different storage conditions will subject that potato, will change it dramatically. If you don't know that, there's no reason for you to know that. Then you're not kind of privy to how difficult it is to do chips all year round. So the food side of things, definitely. I think the thing that we're kind of scratching the surface of now is just how important having a really great, enthusiastic, passionate workforce is, and how to make sure that everyone who's working for us, who's going through, real kind of world problems and struggling with whatever kind of difficulties life throws at them, to try and support them and be there for them. So for us, our team now, Honest, we're really kind of focusing on getting everyone together, making sure we're being as supportive as we can as owners and a big business, and just trying to make sure that we're like a proud company to work for. And you know, we don't get it right all the time, for sure. We get it wrong. And it's, you know.
What was the biggest fuck up in this 11 years? The biggest one you want to share?
I'm glad you swore then, because I've been stopping myself from swearing about 100 times. Many. I mean, personally, I've done some absolute howlers in my time. I remember when we opened Marketplace, I was under pressure kind of from our board, and I don't think I'd really prepared very well for a board meeting, and I was like, shit, I need something to present, what we're going to do. We were talking about marketing and our online database, and I basically was like, I need to get loads of people to sign up to our database. So we just opened Marketplace, and Tommy, who's one of our regional directors now, he's been with us for years, he's an amazing guy. He was manager at Marketplace, and I completely shafted him because I basically put a tweet out saying, anyone who signs up to our database gets a free burger in Marketplace. But like, you know, completely didn't even think it through. And that tweet was live for about, 4 hours. We had about 9,000 people sign up.
No way.
Yeah, and it was tough. It was really tough. So I went down, I was like, Tommy,
but at least you improved your database.
We did, yeah.
I think you need to see.
Only for GDPR to then cut it right back to about 3.
You talked about investors and ownership. I mean, you started as 2 friends, then a third one joined. We saw it we saw the great products in the intro. You started as 2 friends, a third one joined. How is the dynamic between you guys? How is the dynamic between your investor base? How you split the work, and did something change when you had it open a little bit wider, the shareholding for investors? Or what did change?
I think the dynamic's really important. You know, we're 3 super stubborn, you know, borderline ignorant sometimes, I think, on our kind of things that we know well. So there's been fireworks between the 3 of us, but if there wasn't, I'd be disappointed, I think, because we're all so passionate about what we do.
How you split the work? What are you doing?
So my technical title, which isn't really relevant at all, is brand director. The bottom line is Phil's always covered serving the food. Mm-hmm. I've always covered the food. And that's now a big kind of, there's lots to that now in terms of the food and our prep kitchen and, you know, putting the butchery in there and stuff like that. The plant burger you've got there, you know. So there's a lot of development goes in that. So that's what I do. And I'm also working on projects that I can't really talk too much about now because they're quite early stage, but bigger projects that are going to potentially kind of direct where Honest is going to go. But Phil, you know, if you go down to Brixton, I cook the food, Phil served the food. It was kind of that simple.
It stays like that.
Yeah, it was.
And what about your investors? Do you have an investor in?
Yeah. So we work with Active, and they, you know, they trust us. They've been very supportive. They backed us when I basically went to them and said I can make our burger better. I need an enormous amount of money to do it, but I can make the burger better. And they were fully supportive of that.
Why did you take an investor on? I mean, you could have grown slower, not giving away shares. What was it? You didn't want to be alone. You thought you needed help.
I think we mentioned about the burger industry. It's you know, fiercely competitive, and this was long before, you know, Five Guys and Shake Shack hit the scene. We had, I think it was when we opened Clapham was when we brought investment in, and we basically wanted to kind of give ourselves strength in the market and give ourselves a bit of, you know, you need a lot of bank debt when it comes to growing businesses, and having an investor kind of shows the banks that you're a well-run business. So it was kind of, you know, a bit of time for us to take a bit of a breather after we got investment. It was like, right, so we can now work on, we don't need to worry about how we're going to fund the expansion.
You felt more safe?
Yeah, definitely. And let's face facts, you know, the 3 of us have paid ourselves nothing, you know.
All of us were.
Yeah, we had 5 or so years of you know, my wife was supporting me for a lot of it. When we were building Brixton, she used to give me £3 a day pocket money, and that
paid it back?
I think so, yeah. But yeah, that was me going to Sainsbury's for the Sainsbury's meal deal, which they now don't do anymore. But yeah, back then that was very important amount of money for me.
Nice story. I want to talk about these 3 mega trends. One we touched already. That's the more focus on plant-based food, how it affects your business. The second one is the delivery side, what was a massive disruption in our industry, especially in the pizza burger sector. And the third one is that people really care now. I mean, I just saw it and I recognize it, that we don't drink out of plastic straw. It's all the sustainability.
Always had these straws. Long before they were fashionable, we had paper straws.
So if you think about these 3 mega trends, which of them, like if you would say something, how you position them? Vegan we covered, you did a fantastic product. How important is sustainability? How important now is the aggregators, the delivery? If you can share
I honestly think the 3 of those things, if you're a restaurant business that doesn't focus on all 3 of those, you're probably going to be left behind.
So which one you adopted earliest, or where have you been late?
I think the biggest one is sustainability. That's for sure. There's a huge, it's just a huge industry that really is kind of only really gathering momentum, and really sustainable options are only coming to light soon, and big businesses are investing in it to make sustainable options available to us. But I think sustainability is probably the most confusing one, because I'm very passionate about what we do, and certainly our meat sourcing as well, which we feel is very good. We've always had free-range chicken on the menu. We've always had. We're just about to put free-range bacon on there, grass-fed beef. There's sustainability when it comes to climate change and eating.
Chips are so good.
Eating red meat, it does infuriate me a little bit when I read studies that are very polarising of the British agricultural industry, which is completely different to some of the worst offenders, like the kind of Midwest in America and South America when it comes to agriculture and farming. So it's important to me though. So I want us to be leaders when it comes to sustainability from an animal welfare perspective, and the impact agriculture has on climate change, which is another reason that kind of links into our vegan burger, which we're behind it. There's no way we're not kind of. I think I'd have said, if you'd said 6 years ago that we'd have a vegan burger on the menu and it would be 10+% of sales, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But
and also the price point, I always figure that out, and it's not just you have like $13.50 and your signature burger is 12, so also people are willing to pay for that.
That's the thing that I struggle with the most, really, and our customers do sometimes as well. And I've kind of keep an eye on our social media channels, and I have done forever, and I got into a kind of semi-argument with someone the other day, first time I've ever got into any kind of argument on social media, and it was about that. It was her saying, if this chili burger's got bacon and beef in it, and that plant burger is made of vegetables, your meat must be terrible quality if that's more expensive. And I was like, that's not the case at all. But plant-based meats are incredibly processed. I'm not going to skirt around that. They just are. There's 19 ingredients in that plant burger. Our beef burger, there's 1 ingredient. Salt and pepper, if you want to add those, and then we've got 3 ingredients. But it's a different beast altogether, and it comes at a cost. Like we buy the Beyond Meat in as well, which doesn't help from a cost perspective. Obviously, the rest of it we make ourselves, and that saving we can pass on to our customers.
You think you're gonna ever make a plant-based burger by yourself?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked a lot about the past and what is happening now. I want to look a little bit together with you in the future. You build a enormous home base. I read that you keep on opening restaurants here. I heard like 6 or 7 I found in the media you're gonna open. What about diversification, other formats, other stuff? Because your colleague once in an interview said already that Honest is like an umbrella, and it can be Honest something, not just Honest Burger. And also the international growth. If you focus on these 3, where, not that you share no secrets what you're doing currently, but where could you go for? How do you see international growth? How do you see diversification? Oops. Hello.
No worries. I think the word honest lends itself to any industry, really. We've kind of joked we'd love to do other things. We're just really busy doing burgers right now, but we definitely, there's a few, we've talked about doing a kind of pub, honest drinker style business, or honest grill. We've had these conversations, but right now we're just flat out with burgers. Huh? But we've got some cool stuff coming up that you have alluded to, but I won't say which ones you've alluded to sort of specifically. But, we're into. I think the word, like I said, it lends itself to any industry. So we're really keen to give it a go. Like I said, it's just doing burgers at the moment is stressful enough.
And what about like you're growing the home base? Is correct? You opened 6-7 stores this year.
Yeah.
Did you change anything in terms of formula, size, interior, or you stay straightforward as well?
No. I mean, again, that's the beauty of us being a slightly bigger business now. Is we've got a really good understanding of things that work and don't work. And there's sites now. You mentioned Deliveroo and delivery, and we work with Deliveroo.
Exclusively?
Yeah.
How important is delivery in your business? Like you're doing 15%, 20%?
Delivery is like a drug for a lot of restaurants, and if you don't control it, you'll be 50% delivery without breaking a sweat, and then the percentages these guys are having to charge just doesn't stack for most restaurants. But I know a lot of the big guys who are reporting amazing like-for-like growth. About like 80% of it is delivery. Their like-for-like cover footfall is dropping. Our like-for-like cover footfall is rising because we feel we're like restraining delivery. We have this.
So you want to grow both?
We want to grow both, but it's certainly not at the extent of customers eating in. We don't want a restaurant filled with customers waiting longer for food because we've got 20 Deliveroo drivers queuing up.
But you also cannot ignore it. I mean, it's
and this is what I was alluding to about what some of the sites now. Now we're looking at some sites. You have massive kitchen space, so you can sustain the demand for Deliveroo and slightly fewer covers up front because you just don't need them anymore. In certain areas, some of the neighbourhood areas we call, where you've got tons of residential. This site in particular in Dalston is really high in Deliveroo because there's just so many people living around here. So yeah, I mean, I think if we were going to do this site again, we'd probably make the kitchen bigger and slightly less covers here because we do sometimes have to just turn Deliveroo off because we can't service both.
It's great that you have the discipline, and it's also great that you have the shareholder base and the understanding that you don't grow just on the back of cannibalizing your in-house business.
Yeah.
One thing you haven't touched base, I mean, there's a lot of other cool burger restaurants around Europe, but there's also your friends out there would grow to other countries. Is it like something what is on the radar to open international? Or are you scared of, or are you curious, or what's your mindset?
We're very curious, yeah. It's about timing, doing it the right way. For us, because we make so much in-house, it's a huge investment for us to open overseas. We need, you're talking. I wouldn't be up for doing it unless we replicated exactly what we do here, just with ingredients from over there. Whether it's France, or something. So we have to be investing heavily in a big prep kitchen, big butchery.
So last time when we checked, we had viewers from over 20 countries. So if you can pick one country, what would it be and why?
I'd probably say France, because I can get to Paris about as easy as I can get to Manchester with our lovely train services in the UK. So yeah, I think France, and I've eaten some great burgers in France. I think the French are. You can go to a small bistro in the south of France and get a beautiful medium rare burger.
But there's also some like premium local burgers around. It will not be that easy. Yeah? But
no. I mean, the Parisian burger market is strong. It's competitive. There's
but so is the London one.
Yeah, and I think there's a few. I won't name names. There's a couple of French brands that have gone from Paris to the UK and not lasted very long. So I think we're the burger scene in London is strong. France has got amazing ingredients. There's amazing potatoes there, amazing beef. So it makes a lot of sense.
Is there any location around the world where you say this is my dream to open there, just for you, just for your personal satisfaction?
I don't have as big an ego as that.
Okay. So the last part is I would like to get an understanding. When you look back, obviously, if you want to hear it or not, on the paper at least, you're very successful, and not just on the paper. If you screen social media, you have a huge fan base. When you now look back, how much you think was luck? How much was hard work? How you feel about that?
My grandpa, he built a business from the ground up, and he always said to me, say it over and over and over again, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I believe that like wholeheartedly. And no one who's had any degree of success hasn't had something go their way. And there will be some certain bits of luck that will happen. There's also bad luck as well that comes along, and that's just as difficult. But I think you've just got to be prepared to commit and sacrifice. And we did. We saw things go our way in terms of opening up in Brixton. We had no idea Brixton was going to be what it was, and that opening up there completely changed the dynamic of Honest Burgers. We learned so much from that tiny little unit, and the people of Brixton, and the reviewers and the food critics, and everyone just came to give us this like insane launch into the food world in a matter of months. You could have had a £10 million PR budget, and you probably wouldn't have got the kind of press that we got just from opening up a 20 cover restaurant in Brixton. But we knew that. We were like, we can't fuck this up. I just got the whole way through without swearing. So we worked tirelessly to make sure we didn't. So yeah, I think it's like you said, it's.
And you had your girlfriend giving you £3 a day that you can survive.
I know, man. Thanks, Connie.
We thank you. We always get asked by our viewers to ask the same questions at the end to get some tips, because they always say, you guys are so lucky, you travel so much, you eat so much around the world, we want to get some tips. So I always need to ask. So best burger outside of Honest, where is it for you?
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere.
I would mention Bleecker Burger. They're awesome, and I love the guy. I love Zan. Their burger's amazing in London. In New York, Minetta Tavern. I was there a couple of years ago. That was pretty special.
Nice.
Yeah, it's decent.
Your favorite restaurant?
There's a restaurant in New York, and I'm literally struggling. My brain just cannot think of the name of it. What would I say? In fact, I tell you what, I went to Llewellyn's in Herne Hill last night, which I live just down the road, and I've been there half a dozen times, and every time it is absolutely bang on. I love it. So yeah, I'd probably say Llewellyn's, and I'm lucky enough to be able to walk to it.
So last meal before you die, what would it be?
I'm pretty classic.
Is it a burger?
Hell no. I grew up with roast dinners. That's my. If my mum didn't cook my dad a roast on Sunday, like if we ate a roast at someone else's house, he'd make her cook her roast on Monday. It was like I would always be having a roast.
A roast it is. The last meal.
100%. Probably a roast beef or a roast chicken or something.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the honesty you get as everybody else. The daddy what came late today, you can pass it on or keep it or whatever. Thanks for being that honest.
I get to keep this.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for being that honest, that transparent. Thank you for supporting the good cause, because as we were chatting before, all the revenues go to the kids.
Yeah,
and
I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
Good luck for everything what comes out. Good luck for all the secrets what you try to keep from us, but we're gonna hear them and see them on the market.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.